I did do my raw reactions last night, so here's more of my collected thoughts on everything in relation to Phase 4. So last night Marvel Studios did do a massive panel and they pretty much revealed everything that will be going down in Phase 4. Which, as you can see, is going to be much smaller compared to Phase 3. And there is quite a lot to unpack here, so first and foremost I'm going to be focusing on all of the MCU movies that are announced, then I'm going to be focusing on all of the Disney Plus shows, and then lastly I'm going to be touching upon Blade since technically he is in Phase 5. Now first and foremost, we do have some more information surrounding the Black Widow solo movie, and it has been revealed that the movie is going to be set in between the events of Civil War and Infinity War, while also showing some flashbacks on what happened in Budapest, which is a pretty good way to take the movie. Plus they have revealed once and for all in that we are going to have the introduction of Yelena Belova, which that in itself I feel is a massive introduction given that Yelena does have the potential of being a major player within the future of the MCU. And since Natasha is dead after the event of Endgame, I can't expect that we will get to see Yelena taking on the role as the new Black Widow moving forward. Plus they also confirmed that the main villain for the movie will of course be Taskmaster, which is something that we've all pretty much predicted for a very long time now. And since they're keeping the identity of Taskmaster under wraps, I do have suspicion in that it's going to be David Harper who is going to be Taskmaster. And yes, I am aware that they did reveal he's going to be the Red Guardian, but I do feel like that is just a cover up and that it's going to be a massive revelation within the film, but that's just my pure speculations here. Moving on, we do have the Eternals, and they are really pushing them to be the next big thing. And that the Eternals could further expand on the lore of the MCU in terms of its origin. I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one because I know next to nothing about the Eternals or really any of the characters. But given its impressive cast as well as the fact that they really are pushing for the Inhumans, I won't deny that I am very curious on where they're going to go with this new franchise. Speaking of new franchise, the film that will be following the Eternals will of course be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And already I do want to say that I am happy that the MCU are doing a lot more in terms of diversity, and I do feel like it is rather fresh for them to do a kung fu action film. I think I might know a little more about Shang-Chi than I do the Eternals, as I am aware that Shang-Chi is among one of the best fighters in the Marvel Universe, and that he is somewhat of a street level character in a similar vein to the likes of Spider-Man, Daredevil and even Iron Fist. And while I have stated in previous movies that I've never been the biggest fan of the Mandarin as a villain in the comics, I will admit that it is cool that we are going to see the real Mandarin and that they're going to be revisiting the Ten Rings in the MCU, because I do feel like it has been overshadowed for a very long time now, and that Shang-Chi is pretty much the best way to introduce the real Mandarin since we no longer have Iron Man in the MCU. Now this is where we get to the somewhat more familiar territory, as we are finally going to be getting the sequel to Doctor Strange, and it is going to be known as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And out of all of the Phase 4 Marvel movies that are announced, I do think that this movie might actually be my most anticipated. Now this is for a multitude of reasons, but the biggest one of them all is the fact that I do love the mystical realm of the Marvel Universe, and I cannot wait to see them further expand on the mystical realm as well as the multiverse. Plus it's also been revealed in that we will get to see the Scarlet Witch teaming up with Doctor Strange in this sequel, which is also something that I've been long wanting to see. And what's pretty insane about this movie, at least to me, is the fact that they are going to be touching on the horror elements in this movie. Now how far they're going to be experimenting on the horror genre for Doctor Strange 2, I have no idea, but it does have me very intrigued in that they are actually going to be more experimental. And after my most anticipated Phase 4 film, we get to my least anticipated Phase 4 film, in the form of the fourth film by the name Love and Thunder. And I say this because we really don't need another Thor film. And I've been saying that I would much rather them focus on another Asgardian character or even Asgardian groups as opposed to focusing on Thor once again. Although I will admit that I am slightly more excited in the fact that we are going to be seeing Jane Foster as Thor. That being said, I was still hoping for them to recast Jane Foster completely because I feel like Natalie Portman is just another version of Brie Larson. We've also heard that we are still going to be getting Chris Hemsworth as 4, plus there's also going to be Valkyrie who will be joining on the adventure. And while I am excited to see Valkyrie again alongside the real 4, at the same time I do feel like they could have filled this slot with a much more interesting film. And now we get to the Disney Plus TV shows that will be set in Phase 4. And kicking off, we do have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I am excited to see this plot thread continue between them given the fact that they are passing on the torch of Captain America. Plus we have Daniel Bruhl coming back as Baron Zemo, and he is this time going to be the actual Baron. So that reason alone makes this series one of my most anticipated by default. Next up we do have WandaVision, which I still stand by is a completely dumb name, and to this day I still think that Scarlet Witch should have had her own series, instead of sharing the spotlight with the Vision. And the only two reasons why I am somewhat interested in this series is 1, how they're going to bring back the Vision, and 2, how connected it's going to be with Doctor Strange 2. And continuing with the mystical side of things, we do have Loki, and like I said, this is quite possibly my least anticipated out of all of the Disney Plus shows. What we do know about this series is the fact that Loki is going to be travelling through many different timelines with the Space Stone, and will be pretty much causing mischief for shits and giggles. I feel like Loki as a character has more than overstayed his welcome, and I do feel like with this premise alone that Loki's gimmicks are going to get tiresome very quickly if they don't play their cards right. Moving on, we have my most anticipated out of all of the Disney Plus shows in the form of What If, as this is going to be the first animated series in the MCU, or more accurately the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, since they're going to be showing us different versions of the MCU completely. And plus it is exciting in that the voice cast will be consistent of mostly the MCU stars and that they're going to be reprising their roles, which is a clever way in bringing back certain characters who can't realistically return in the proper MCU. And the final Disney Plus show, we do have Hawkeye, which is also one of my more anticipated ones. And I feel like it's long overdue for Hawkeye Clint Barton to have his own spotlight, just as it is long overdue for Kate Bishop to make her MCU first appearance. And having both versions of Hawkeye will have a lot of material in terms of story. And I would be incredibly guilty if I left out Blade in this video, because truth be told, this is the one thing I'm looking forward to more than anything else that has been announced by Marvel Studios. While it's been confirmed by Kevin Feige in that this is actually going to be in Phase 5, since it's been announced alongside the rest of Phase 4, I don't see a reason to leave this one out. And as much as I would love to see Wesley Snipes reprise the role as Blade, Mahershala Ali is the best replacement for this Blade reboot, as I do believe that he would make for a perfect Daywalker. Even with that being said, the idea of a Blade movie in the MCU is so weird to me, but at the same time it does have me all the more excited into seeing what they're going to do with this character and how they're going to be tackling him moving forward. Because are they going to stick with the action roots of the character, or if they're going to go in a more horror direction? And hell, there is a huge debate on whether or not this new incarnation of Blade is going to be an R-rated franchise, which is a whole other topic that I'm going to save in another video down the road. But to round all off, the entirety of Phase 4 is a very strange and unpredictable phase. And as you can see with all of the new franchises and whatnot, they're really not setting up the next big bad or anything like that, but instead they are just focusing on the new beginnings, and I do feel like it is a refreshing take for the MCU. And while this might be too drastically different to some people to accept, at the end of the day, Phase 4 is much smaller, and we are expecting to have a lot more announcements during D23 within the next few months. So what are your thoughts on everything in relation to Phase 4 of the MCU? Which movie and TV shows are you excited to see the most, and which ones are you excited for the least? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.